man, Adrian Hales, is not only a great coach, he's also a great speaker, he's also a podcaster, and as it happens to be, just a human being who is very passionate about helping other people not only to thrive in life, but also outperform themselves. And that's why he works with great leaders in this world. Adrian, I'm so super happy to see you again back into my studio in 2021. Happy New Year to you.
Yay. Happy New Year, Olga. And I think we were speaking before, just you work in so many countries, so you can see that, you're really successful in what you do. And I'm kind of envious that, I'm stuck in London and it's overcast, but it's a good thing. I love what I do and you love what you do, and it comes out in the interviews that we do. But I'm always envious, like you work in so many of these amazing countries. How do you do it?
Well, it's a good question, Adrian. It's a really good question. And what's interesting, very often people tell me very similar thing. Oh, I'm very envious. I wish I could do it as well. And then my answer always is, you can. You
Yeah.
really can. If I can do it, you can do it too. Yes, it comes with a bit of sacrifice. Yes, it comes with a bit of, liberation of not being attached to one place, and comes with, being highly driven to do it. It comes with the understanding that you won't be able to see people whom you want to see on a regular basis that often.
Yeah.
However, COVID-19 situation doesn't allow us to do it anyways. So if I have to be stuck somewhere, I'd rather be stuck in front of the sea, as I was showing you just before the show. And there's another island just far in the distance. It's a bit windy. It's really bad weather today. It's windy and it's 22 degrees. I can live with that, I think.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. When I saw the view, it looked amazing. But I think it's like a really good learning as we start off there. As obviously we're starting talking on the podcast. I think the environment we work in is such an important thing. I mean, I've when I was building my business, I was in a kind of 1-bedroom flat, cutting costs and having that environment. And yes, I did do well in building my business, but I always felt kind of limited by the environment that I was in. And
Yep.
it's amazing. I'm in a slightly different environment right now, but when you work in these different environments, I'm sure you can vouch for that as well. You get different inspirations, your energy changes, you feel different, gives you different perspectives. So it's actually a really simple way of changing how you're feeling and how you're performing as well.
Absolutely. And I must say, you always also have more energy, and you learn so much. You really learn so much. And what's interesting, every time you go somewhere, you learn something, and that becomes a great metaphor, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, as we were talking about how to, catalyze yourself in 2021 and how to explode and how to go to the next level, to my mind straight away came the stories about how these Canary Islands were actually built. And they're
Wow.
all well built because of the volcanoes, right? Because the explosion of volcanoes, right? So that's exactly what happens. Sometimes you think, well, I need to really pivot my business, need to make a huge change, but it's a bit too scary. I have been there before. I need to shoot through. I need to do this. But actually, once you do that, once you just allow that to happen, then you have new life built in. Just like the through volcano eruption, these islands were created, right? We would not have these kind of islands if not volcanoes, right? So
Mm.
sometimes we need to be that volcano. We need to erupt. We need to really outperform ourselves. We need to let all that go. But Adrian, good question is, how do we do it?
Mm. Yeah, it's an interesting piece because I think we're all on a journey, and at any point of time in that journey, we can make a decision to change, right? And
Yeah.
I was on a podcast earlier today as well, and what we were talking about is that we're talking about coaches that maybe have started a coaching business, left the corporate world in a short period of time, and we were talking about people that it takes like sort of 20 years. And I think the real difference between the two is actually just having a decision and deciding actually to change and to realize that life is finite. We have one life, and no matter what we're doing, the time passes anyway. So whether
Yeah.
you start doing it now in 5 years and do it in 5 years or do it in 20 years, people are very scared of, I think, of a couple of things: is the investing the money that it's going to take to change, investing time and energy. But we're going to invest money, time, and energy if it takes 20 years or 5 years. So why not start at least moving towards that, or making that decision to change right now?
Bingo, exactly. And also, when it comes to money, a really good question is to ask yourself, how much money will I not make? if I'm not going to do this change, right? I know it's scary to think about, I need to invest this money into a mentor, a coach, or somebody else, right? I know it is, right? Because I've done it myself. And I remember that's when I was thinking, really, that much for what? And then only after you work with that person, you realize, oh my God, yeah, that was the best investment ever. Or you go to the seminar, right? And you think, whoa, that is so costly. And then you come out and you think, wow, I'm a newborn human being, right? So yes, it is scary to invest in yourself because you think, wow, that costs that much money. However, think about this: how much money you will not make if you will not commit to this investment, right?
Yeah.
It's about what you're going to lose as a result of not committing, rather what potentially you will pay now.
Yeah, and I think you're right in saying that, because I think when there's coaches out there, and there's also people that want to create change and bring their vision to life. And there's a fear around money, of course. As coaches find the fear around obviously being too salesy and having that money conversation. And also people feel fearful of investing their money because quite rightly so, they're never going to get the time back. They're never going to get the energy. So there needs to be like a kind of fair exchange. But the interesting thing is it's viewing money, because money is just money. It's viewing money as actually that is your most powerful breakthrough.
Yeah.
That actually coaches see when that comes up in a client conversation, that actually you're helping the client there make overcome that fear or whatever that is, because whatever comes up for the money conversation is an example of where they're stuck right now. Vice versa, when people go to invest the money, actually if they're self-aware and they look into that, that is actually a pattern or a repetition of what's actually stopping them. And once they can invest that and realize that the money that they invest is priceless and the best investment they'll ever make and is within themselves, and realize, I think the biggest thing is realizing when they invest that money that they have the power to create that change, and they can 100% do it. That's a really important piece around what you just said around the money.
100%. And what's interesting that there's plenty of money in the world, right? And this phrase, I really love this phrase, and I hope it will really inspire many people as well. So this phrase is as such: those who have less ask for less. So it's even in the Bible, right? Those who have less, they simply asked for less. And that relates to, if you don't earn enough money, that means there's something to do with your self-worth, something to do with your self-value, something to do with you not believing in what you do great. I've worked with so many coaches who actually don't feel empowered. They don't feel strong enough. They don't feel they can deliver enough at the level what they would like to charge. And I'm not saying, I became a coach and straight away I was earning money. No. Of course, I was one of those as well who was exchanging free hours, doing free sessions and stuff like that. And I realized really, really quickly that actually that not only will sink me, that also will sink my family. That will also sink my social life. That will also sink my lifestyle, right? So I had to really find the self-worth and self-value within myself. And I had to work with a coach to do that in order to find my self-worth. So this could be relatable not only to coaches, but hypnotherapists, to counselors, to whatever practitioners, whatever even other service providers we have, right? You who provide a service to other people, you got to know your self-worth. You got to know your value. Because if you don't, then unfortunately you undervalue yourself. Right? And it's not as, oh, you have to have that many years of experience. You got to have experience. Of course, you can't just finish a course and charge stupid money, because lack of results will lead to lack of clients, right? But you got to see and recognize your self-worth. So those who right now don't earn enough money, whatever business you're in right now, remember this phrase: those who have less ask for less. Here you have to go deep inside of yourself and realize your self-worth and self-value in order for you to be able to allow yourself to ask for more. And Adrian, I'm not sure how easy it was for you. That wasn't easy for me. I had to really work on that. And I'm so grateful I broke through that, because since then I don't have this issue. The money conversation never became an issue for me anymore, because I know what results I can deliver. I know how much I will charge. That's it. It's not even a conversation. Just, this is what it is. That's it.
I think I agree with you. There's definitely a transition or a journey as a coach into that period, like you spoke about. Charging, doing one sessions and then charging programs.
Yeah.
I remember getting my first client, probably about first paying client for coaching, probably about 5 years ago. And I remember it was just a walk around the park. I think one of the greens in Richmond. And I didn't focus on selling coaching. I didn't have any intention for selling coaching. And I just served that person powerfully in that conversation, and gave, my whole attention and served that person really powerfully. And we went around the park, and they had like a kind of a life-changing breakthrough. And then a couple of weeks later, they said, "How much do you charge?" And I said, "Well, it's £150 a session." And they ended up working with me for, quite a few months. And the transition from going from that to charging high ticket, like 2, 3, 4,000, was a couple of things. I think the two things that were really important in that piece going to that next level was realizing that, yes, it's important to do the inner work, like the spiritual work, the inner work, like what we always speak about. But there comes a point in the time where you can't rely on your chakras to change your business.
Of course.
But I think what happens is coaches enjoy this coaching. They so enjoy the spiritual side. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, because it's part of us. But we go on this journey, and we forget to live in the physical world, and we forget to integrate the stuff around business. Yeah. So it really is about doing that. It's about integrating the love of coaching and the love of the spiritual, and then integrating it into a business as its whole. It's one part of you. And I remember when I, got my first high ticket client, I was practicing my 2 coaching packages in the mirror every morning. Brush my teeth, and I just practiced it, practiced it. And I went into a corporate company to do some leadership coaching, and then somebody said to me, "I really love what you're doing. I've been watching you do your work. Would you be up for, helping me?" And I said, yeah, drop me a call tomorrow. And they dropped me a call, and they said, "How much do you charge?" And I told the price, the investment that I did. And because I helped them have a breakthrough the day before, I said the investment very simply, as I've been doing in the mirror. And they said, "Okay, when can I pay you?" So I suppose my recap for people listening and for you, Olga, is there comes a point when you have to not rely all on the spiritual. We have to live in the physical. Number one, it's about serving people and helping them get an understanding of what it's like to work with you, and being clear and just practicing the money part of the conversation, and realizing if they pay, great, and if they're struggling with it, that's also a breakthrough for them.
Yeah, that's true. We also need to remember that clients who come to us mirror the state of mind we have. Okay, it's really important to remember. I had plenty of people coming to me saying, "Olga, I don't understand why when I have a conversation about money with my potential clients, why they become so doubtful, or why do they sign up and then they kind of start doubting this and they ask for a refund, or why do they, never have enough money?" And my question also always is, what is your state of mind? Right? Because we have to remember, we are creators of our universe, okay? And we see in our outside world what we have in our inner world. So if your clients are doubting, if your clients are not sure, if your clients are kind of, really are really slow at making decisions to work with you, whatever else, ask yourself, why are you behaving that way? What stops you, right? Maybe you don't believe you're worthy of that money. Maybe you have a story, for example. One of my clients' story was really powerful to figure it out. So I took him on the journey. I was like, okay, so once you become successful, then what? And eventually his answer was, "Oh, well, then I will have nothing to do and I cannot do nothing." Right? So what he was doing, he wanted to become more successful what he was doing, but sometimes he was self-sabotaging his success because he was afraid of not doing anything and being bored. It's so innocent story. It's so not important, you think. But for subconscious, it's a big reason why not to help you to earn more, right? Because it doesn't want you to feel bored, right? And there are plenty of these self-sabotaging stories which we have, right? It could be, once I have more money, once you earn more money from your business, your friends will disappear, right? And once you have this story, unfortunately, your subconscious will not allow you to charge more, to get to more high paying clients, to get more opportunities, because you don't want to lose friends, right? And it's really, really powerful to find what exactly stops you from catalyzing your business and taking that to the next level. And I always say, very often, it's not about the strategy, it's about what stopped you so far. It's
Yeah.
very easy to build a strategy and to say, okay, I'm going to make 60 phone calls. Out of 60, I want to have 10 meetings. Out of 10, I want to convert 5. Bish, bash, boss. And then next day you sit and you look at your phone and you think, I can't make a phone call. And the reason why you can't make a phone call, because you have a self-limiting story. And that's why you got to find out, what is that thing that stops me? So Adrian, what was your thing? Have you ever discovered what was your thing? What was self-sabotaging you on your journey?
Yeah, I think what happens is sometimes is when we're coaches, you're on your own, and you have to have your own willpower and your own steam. And I think the most important thing is, as when we first start on this journey, is it's being clear with our boundaries and not people pleasing, because we love what we do and we say yes to a lot of things. And I think when I actually intentionally set out my month and day, and then have a criteria for who I say yes to, and making sure on a couple of things is, number one, making sure that you're intentional with your planning. So working out when your energy levels are best. So I turn off social media and everything at like 6 o'clock, and I don't turn it back on until 10 the next morning. But in the evening, then I work on my business as well. I learn, I work on my business. So I have peak hours from say 10 till 3, where I'm in the zone, very much like where we are now. Then I train at 3. So a big thing I learned is getting burnt out by people pleasing, and actually maintaining and managing your emotion energy, and but just being really intentional about it. Like, yes, there comes a point when coaching is about serving others, but as you said, your energy is reflecting to other people. And from neurology and from neurosciences, that's actually been proven that when we show up powerfully, someone else does as well, and they mirror you. So it's a really good point. And I think, as I said, be intentional with creating your day and your week. But the first part for me is business building, then health and fitness, and then learning, I would say, and then creating space. So like meditation or just watching TV. But I think a really important point, I made some notes down here, but one of the points is that I think in the coaching world, because we've had coachitis and we've learned every single methodology and all this type of stuff, is that when we're really experiencing challenges, when we're frustrated, when we're overthinking, when we're procrastinating, when we're fearful, we try and reframe everything to be positive. So you might ask a coach, how's it going? Oh, I'm doing amazing. I've got all this. But that's not the reality. And I think we can disassociate from reality. And I think one of the most important things that I learned is being honest where you're at.
Yes.
Being honest where you're at, but that's okay. Because when we can be honest where we're at, it helps us increase our performance, because we start to create more aligned goals and a better purpose. And it gets you clear on what's going to move you forward, what's going to get you out of where you are. So I think those are some of the most important learnings for me.
100%, you're right. And I love the fact that you address so highly the routine and the space for yourself, because many people, they don't even have a routine. Many people, they just wake up and they feel lousy, they feel tired. Don't know how you can feel tired after you had night's sleep. This is exactly when your body is supposed to have rest, right? But they wake up lousy, they wake up tired, they don't have a morning routine, they go into their day without intentions, they go into the day without a goal and a target, and then by the end of the day they feel unfulfilled, because of course they haven't accomplished what they never set up. That's why I really believe in having a routine. I really believe in having your moments of your own time when you prepare yourself for the day. They could be anything, right? Like you described your routine, that it's exercising in afternoon time. For some people, for example, for me, it's important to exercise in the morning. I'm not a morning person. Don't ask me to do anything what will require concentration in the morning, because I'm not a morning person. So what I do when I wake up early in the morning, I go do my yoga first, then I do my exercises, and then I start my day. Because if I don't do that, I'm still sleepy, right? Of course, I wake up with the energy, but still I feel a bit sleepy. I need to wake up, and I wake up through exercising. So everybody is different, but you got to learn, just like Adrian said, about your routine, your best working hours. When do you feel more creative? When do you feel more to do some manual work that doesn't require too much brain power? When you can do something to awaken your body? Maybe sometimes you can even have your little siesta, your little nap. Why not, right? Because if you wake up early, usually by around about 2 p.m.-ish, I would feel a bit like sleepy. And this is when I like to go for my walk to wake up my body. This is when I like maybe to do my stretching to wake up my body. So you got to really learn about your routine. This is the best favor you can do for yourself in 2021. Learn about your natural body routine. When do you feel more like working? When do you feel more like resting? And work around that. I know in some cases it will be quite easy to say rather to do. You might have children, you might have husband, you might have wife, you might have parents to look after. I understand. But sometimes everybody is capable to find some time for themselves. You don't have to be perfect wife. You don't have to be perfect father, a perfect mother. You still can tell everybody around you, look, this is my time. If you don't take ownership of your time in 2021, nobody will do it for you. But if you don't take ownership for your time, then you can't really progress in your business too, because your business will reflect how much you progress in your own life.
Yeah.
So let's be careful with that.
Yeah, I think it's a very important point there is like your business will progress, like Olga said, when you're focused on yourself. But also, I think the most important, and you touched on it earlier, is number one, letting go of those stories, or helping someone change your beliefs, or let go of those types of stories. And number two is taking kind of action again. It sounds very simplistic, but taking those action again and having a clear purpose and vision of where you're going, because I think that's really important. And often when we get stuck as coaches, we're spending too long focused on me. Maybe avoidance behaviors like going to get another coffee, watching Netflix, wasting time with somebody who's never interested in your services, going for too many works, buying too many books. And I think the reality is that there are people out there who would love to hear your story and would really benefit you from your style as a coach. So you have to move the focus within the day from I focus to serving. And like me and Olga are doing now, we're serving you. We're learning from each other. We're serving you. But there has to be pockets of that every day. And even if you're in an organization and you're listening, there's lots of managers and leaders out there who get obsessed with numbers. They just sit there and look at all these numbers. Yes, that will tell you a little bit. But my call to you, or my advice to you, is get out of your seat and go and spend time with the people and learn from those people. And it's really from going I focus to how can I serve my team, as well as coaches. There are people out there that need your support, and how can you show up powerfully for them? Because that's why you started coaching, not to sit there in your thoughts and procrastinate and avoid, but to actually serve powerfully. And me and Olga have always touched on this. It's about walking your talk as a coach. And that's not saying being a perfectionist, but what that's saying is that if you're asking your clients to do certain things in their life, you have to be a model of that as well.
Yeah. And it's quite easy sometimes to see that in many coaches' behavior, when they're loud taglines, when they're loud words said, when they show some flashy posts, wherever, right? But then when you listen to their conversations, or when you read the comments somewhere, or when you just literally talk to them, you can hear how many mismatching limitations they have to what they say they do. That's why it's really, really quite important to really learn about the person with whom you're going to work and really observe their behavior rather just what their tagline says, right? Observe what their clients already saying about them, right? Observe the testimonials, observe, maybe somebody who worked with that person and ask them what exactly they have achieved, because there's so many people who will tell you lots of flashy stuff, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's great to hear. But actually, I came across a few people who were saying one thing, very flashy, very smartly written, really amazing. But even in the conversation, like one-to-one conversation, it wasn't, we just met, it was just event, like networking event, pre-COVID-19 times. Remember those days we used to go to events, Adrian? Right? And you have a conversation, and what you hear, and what I remember was the tagline is completely opposite. I remember standing there thinking, wow, you don't even walk your talk. You don't. Because what you say is not what you say out there to the world, right?
Yeah.
That's what's really important. Ask yourself a question. What I sell, is it what I believe in? What I do, is it something what I really enjoy doing myself, right?
Yeah.
What I provide for other people, is it something what I really believe in? I wake up with that, I breathe that, I walk that. If it's not, maybe sunshine is a good time to change your direction, okay?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's time to have a coach, right?
Yeah.
To work with somebody, right? Because you can't really sell what you don't believe in. Let's remember that.
Yeah, it's really, really good point. I was working with a client recently, and this highlights your point. Actually, is that they'd never ever started a coaching business before. They're working in an organization. They really wanted to start a coaching business, because we got to the point where, I really want to serve people. And there's two challenges or learning points for coaches, and that can be an established coach, or it can be someone starting a coaching business. Number one, obviously, you've got to enroll clients, and number two, you have to be good at the art of coaching. So it was really, really interesting, because when I was working with them, I was developing them and helping them let go of limiting stories and stuff. And they actually signed a client before they'd actually learn how to really coach. And they've just got their first client. So I think they've got £1,200 in coaching so far. And we worked on the art of coaching, the performance of coaching, and the performance of business in equal measures. And I think where it's out of balance sometimes, Olga, is that coaches focus so much on, I've got to get new customers, I've got to get leads, I've got to get sales in, and they miss the art of coaching. I mean, like perfecting their performance and styles, because a lot of coaches, they say, I'm an ICF accredited coach. Yeah, that's great, but show me how to solve someone's inner conflict now. Show me how to do that. Can you do that now? Can you reframe? Can you redirect? Can you help them transform? And I think the equal measures is, I remember speaking to them and they go, oh my God, I've got a client, I'm so happy. And then straight away they have this gut wrenching fear, but I don't know how to coach yet. So then you have to work on the art of coaching. So it's not, saying this is bad or, anyone's wrong for doing this, but typically what we do, we love coaching so much. We spend our whole life coaching, learning all these methods, getting these certifications. And they only really mean anything when we can actually apply those tools, resources, and actually help facilitate the change. And unless we're taking our clients beyond their fears and their mind, conditioned mind patterns, we're not really coaching. We're only ever coaching ourselves. So the performance of coaching comes through moving them through their fears. And by very nature, we're experiencing fear when we're going through. We have to be able to do that as a coach. But at the same time, build the business so that when we get a client, we are confident, like we can create the results. Like if I enroll a client, and like if you roll a client, I'm 100% certain I can help them create the result that they're looking for. And a lot of coaches have which stops them from showing up powerfully is, and it goes to the point that you said, is that actually, do they really know their subject well? Number one. And number two, are they actually applying those resources and skills in a coaching session to get the results?
Yeah.
And that is so important, to actually bring those skills into the coaching session and constantly revitalizing that. So it's a balance of, as I said, enrolling clients and also the art of and the performance of coaching.
Very true, very true. And I must say, one of the most powerful things what coaches found out through my coaching course was actually I didn't realize I actually am so strong or powerful. Different people use different words or can actually already deliver results. I still thought I need to learn more. And
Yeah,
that's the danger. Very often we get stuck in the forever learning. We think we need to learn another thing. We need to finish another course. We need to get another certification because we don't recognize that you already can do that. And
yeah,
it's really powerful when you stop, reflect, and you recognize what you already were able to achieve for your clients, what changes already happened in your clients' lives, what great reviews you already received, and really see them and recognize them and hear them and absorb them rather to chase this forever journey of learning. Because the
yeah,
truth is, everybody can be stuck in that journey of learning. I'm not saying don't learn. I am a learner. I love learning. Even when I travel right now, for example, yesterday I went to another island and we were climbing the mountain, like with other group of people. And I see the group of people just walk by all these signs. And I'm like, I like to stop and read them. I like to learn about how this particular volcanic formation was created. I love doing that, right? Because I am a learner, because my human need is growth, right? I'm not saying don't learn, but I'm saying don't get stuck in a forever learning as an excuse why you should learn to be more powerful. You already can deliver some results, okay? You already have passion for coaching or passion for whatever else you do. So you already have to just recognize what you already
yeah,
were able to deliver. See that, feel that, embrace that, embody that, and start delivering finally. Finally start
yeah,
delivering. Stop hiding behind learning.
yeah. I think it's a really important point. It's learning for learning's sake.
Yeah,
We're obviously always learning, and I think it's important to pull out the fact that
yeah,
with a big thing we spoke about in the last podcast was self-reflection. And it's important that what are we learning, but also I think it's crucial because I think it's crucial as coaches to have 2 or 3 tools or resources that you use,
yeah,
whatever that might be. But then they're mastering the art, mastering those tools and resources, and becoming exceptional at them. And one of my mentors said to me once that if you can't just do that tool or resource or that magic trick
yeah.
straight away now, if someone came to you now, knocked on the door and said, I've got this challenge, can you help me with it? If you can't 100% confidently go, yes, I can, practicing more and doing more, and practicing also with real clients and live clients, actually use these tools and skills with your existing clients. And I think that's a really important piece there. From obviously, yes, learning is important, but intentional learning that actually helps facilitate change. Because I think that the challenge a lot of the coaching world does have, and a lot of these coaching schools teach, is ask this question and this will happen. Well, what happens if you ask that question and that doesn't happen? What are you going to do?
Exactly.
And follow this model and it will lead to that outcome. But that's not always the case, because we're dealing with a human being. And actually, we're speaking about catalyzing performance, right? So if you had no models, what would be your performance as a coach? What would be your style? And yes, we've spoken about this before, but you can use these different models, but they're only kind of waypoints. There comes a point where you're going to have to throw the book of models out, because what we're really doing by using models, we're learning the art of coaching. But then when we become an experienced coach, we're actually keeping ourselves safe, because what it really is about our performance as a coach. Like Olga's performance and my performance will be completely different, but that's part of our journey. That's part of our uniqueness, and that's part of what we do. But once we can throw the models out and actually focus on our performance, then we're actually open to feedback. And with that comes risk, and with that also, by doing that and following your own style, comes a magical transformation for the client. And one thing that I worked with previously with one of my coaching clients is actually we looked at their strengths and skills throughout the years and their style and what they've been learning from coaching, because they did some coaching and mentoring at work and looked at what are their styles. and then looking at the strategy that they use, and then we found their own model. So if you're a coach, look at your strategy and sort of create your own model so you know where you're taking a client, and that will actually come across a lot more natural and fluid because it's playing into their strengths. And I can't remember the exact model, but I think it was with them, we worked out it was really important to start the coaching well, and start the session well. Get them, it sounds really simple, but get them to a point in the conversation where they're thinking completely differently. And then once they think differently, redirect with that new thinking. And that was a model for them, but I would suggest any coaches try and find your own model in performance and style.
100%. And here I would like to bring this example with driving style. Okay, we all go and we learn how to drive, how to sit down in the car, look at the left mirror, right mirror, back mirror, seat belt, start the car, left mirror, right mirror, back mirror, and then start maneuvering. We all learn how to do that, and we feel very nervous in the beginning. Then we get our driving license finally, right? Some people straight away, some people take a bit longer, and then you start driving on your own, right? And the first week or two, maybe a month, you still follow these rules of following everything. And then guess what? 5 years later, you drive the way you want to drive, okay? And the same with your coaching style. Yes, you will learn different style, you will learn different techniques, you will learn how other people do it, but you got to develop your own. Just like driving style, you will have your own coaching style or any other service providing style. You don't have to be others. You are you. You are unique. You have your uniquenesses around you. So use them in your business.
Yeah. And with those styles, Olga, is once you've found out your style and your model, whatever that might be, you can then be very intentional around your learning, what you said earlier. So if it is about starting well, what could you learn? What do you need to learn and experience as a coach? And what methods to really start powerfully? And then, which could be state management, because you said it's very important to show up powerfully. So how do you show up powerfully and present for clients? And then if it's for instance, if it's get them to think differently, what NLP techniques could you use? What projective coaching techniques could you use to get them to change their map of the world? And then what type of kind of forward-based goal setting type questions or challenging questions could you get to redirect? So you see how you can fit your learning in to those, and then you become an expert in your art. And that obviously, as Olga says, that then you become unique. And you can also, when you're speaking to prospective clients or people out there, that's your methodology. And also, you don't have to always compare to other people. You don't have to, compare. You're unique, and that's your method.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I agree with you. It is about creating your own method, creating your own style. Because once you have your own style, then actually it will be a lot easier for you to be true yourself. But actually, Adrian, I have great news before we finish off. We've been watched by Preeti all the way in India, by Ali all the way in Nigeria. And so many people actually were around the world watching us. So many great comments here on LinkedIn. And it's really amazing to see so many people actually. And actually, Saiful is all the way from Bangladesh as well. So that means our message today went around the world. How powerful is that? I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, it was great to see so many people around us today watching us and learning with us. I thank you all. And let's just remember that whatever you learned today, don't get stuck in it, right? Apply it and start developing your own style. Whatever business you are in, I know we spoke a lot today about coaching because we both are coaches and we really want to serve those people who are in coaching business to be more powerful, more stronger coaches, to really and finally show up, because this is your year right now like never before. People need you, right? People need coaches to pivot their lives, to pivot their relationships, to pivot their businesses. So we want coaches to stand up and show up. But if you're in other business, any other industry or service provider business, you can apply everything what we spoke today about into your business as well. Okay, I always say that the only few details will be changed from business to business. Everything else will be like a core model you can always apply across so many other businesses. So I hope you enjoyed this session, because Adrian, I really enjoyed talking to you today again. Thank you so much for all the value which you delivered today, which you brought to us, which you shared with us. I really value that, and I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that.
Yeah, thank you, Olga. Obviously, value your experience as well, and your contribution. I think just before we go, I think someone asked the final question. I think it says, in your opinion, what's the biggest reason for this lack of confidence for coaches to transform clients? An answer to that question is, I think sometimes they make the part of transformation so complex, whereas, as I said before, it's simplifying it and finding your model and then practicing that model, and also keeping things simple. I think if you're like me and Olga here, if you're looking at a way to reach clients, keep it simple, podcast or video, and then have a very simple model that you're going to use. But I also think the lack of confidence comes from fear that, oh my God, I've actually got to go out and put my own stamp on my own coaching practice and model, or my own coaching performance. So the lack of confidence, I would say, comes from lack of practice in a real situation, and not really knowing what to do if somebody disagrees with you or somebody says something, out of context, and how to deal with that. So the more that you can learn how to be adaptive as a coach, and adapt to the conversation and what's coming up, is crucial. But I don't know whether you want to finally finish on, in your opinion, what's the biggest reason for this lack of confidence for coaches to transform clients? Anything?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you, Adrian. That absolutely, the practice and knowledge is very, very important in order to build the confidence. But also, based on my own observation of myself, my own coaching journey, and also my clients, like coaches whom I was coaching, I must say one of the things which very often is bringing that lack of confidence in coaching business is not really something to do with coaching business. It would be very often something to do with your inner little insecurity, right? So, for example, for me, and I'll bring my own personal example, I would like to be transparent, completely vulnerable here. For me, for example, the big belief which I had for years was established by my grandma, who told me when I was little, when I was singing or trying to sing, right? She said, Olga, you don't have a voice. Like, don't sing because you don't have a voice. And this innocent phrase, which was just about singing, put a big stamp on everything in my life, what I was doing, on everything, right? Including coaching. So I wasn't able to be really powerful, like blunt and straightforward and like really powerful coach, because subconsciously I believed I don't have a voice. Okay. And the same was with my clients. Okay. So one of the clients, for example, she couldn't really step up. She couldn't really go into her power and her really like greatness of her as a coach, because she was told not to speak because she was too loud. Okay, I'm not saying it should be something about the voice. I'm just bringing in another example, because when she was a child, her mother told her, every time when you speak, you get too much attention. Okay, so stay quiet. Don't get any attention to you. That affected her not being able to post any videos, not to go on social media, and not to serve clients perfectly. So I would say dig deeper. Okay, really dig deeper. Okay, why I don't feel confident is really in coaching, or is in many other areas, because very often it's not just the coaching business. It will be connected to many other areas. And once you found that, start rebuilding that. Okay, so for example, for me, it was I don't have a voice. So for me, I literally start singing. I start singing, and people were like, we never heard you singing. I was like, yeah, I know. I never heard myself singing. Right? So it was me start singing. It was me speaking out more. It was me overcoming the fear of making the post. And I was thinking, what's the worst can happen? Well, the worst can happen. People will not like it. So what? Okay. So you have to really rebuild your old story in that case. And as a coach, you will know how to do it. If not, maybe in that case, seek some help, right? But I would say, in addition to what you said, Adrian, which is very, very true, I agree with that. But I would like to add, dig deeper, seek within yourself. Where from is that coming? Is it really just in coaching business, or maybe it is coming from somewhere else?
Yeah, and to add to Olga's point, I think the final thing for me is that when we dig deeper and learn where it's coming from, often a lot of the times is as a coach, we've got an NLP a qualification or a coaching qualification or timeline therapy, but we haven't had the hours practice of that. So that might be where we start. We say, oh, that sounds really good. Let's be an NLP coach or whatever. But actually, we haven't built the breadth and depth and skill and knowledge in that area. So I would say sometimes it's worth having full trust in yourself to look at, okay, have I jumped a few rungs there and gone 5 or 6 rungs of where I should be? And it's worth sometimes as coaches to go back to yourself and say, where can I fully trust where I can get the result for a client? And that could be going all the way back to something really simple. But where does your experience and your skill and knowledge currently at that you could fully trust yourself to get that result? And it might not be the new qualification that you've got. It might be moving back a few steps to then go forward again.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And I love the fact how you address trust. I love that because I think this is so, so important. Very often what happens, people say, I have lack of trust towards others. I have trust issues. And very often that indicates to me that they don't trust themselves. And I must say, one of the things which I learned and I strongly follow, like I follow these thing, which I'll tell in a minute, blindly. That's called intuition. Okay. When we connect to our heart, when we connect to our intuition, we are able to connect to the source. And here's one thing what I need to tell, and that will relate to all speakers, to all trainers or workshop deliverers or coaches or therapists or counselors. You are the transmitter, right, of what your client or your audience need to hear. Okay, so when you learn how to connect to your intuition, when you learn how to connect to your heart, when you learn how to connect to the source through your intuition, you will say exactly what needs to be said, and that what you will say will impact your audience, will impact your client. When you're too much in your head, you don't trust yourself, just like Adrian said, you don't trust yourself. Unfortunately, you will go too much into, what was the model like? What was the question like? What I was supposed to ask? I have to do this. I have to ask that. And that is not the way how to work with people. We got to really connect to the source, to the intuition, and serve from that point. Because
100%.
in that case, you'll be super mega powerful.
Yeah, 100%.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, what can I say? Adrian, thank you so much. What was my aim was to have a short session. Of course, it never happens with us because we can talk about this passion of ours for hours, right? But it was a great pleasure. It was a great pleasure to talk to you. It was a great pleasure to have you. Thank you so much once more for your information, for your expertise, for your passion. I can see how passionate you are about what you do, and I love that. And that's why I like having you back. So thank you so much, and thank you all who watched us and who were with us all this time. Thank you. And if you're watching us on the replay, do let us know where you are based. So maybe one day we can meet with you for a coffee. That would be nice. But don't forget, apply it all. So thank you so much, all.
Yeah, good luck.